So I'm gonna have to just feather into the throttle here. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the all-new Dodge Charger Hellcat Widebody. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Kengar Ford here in American Fork, Utah for giving me some time with this Charger. This one is available for sale for the time being, so if you're interested, I'll include a link to their inventory in the description down below. If you have any questions, just ask for Kellen. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So under the hood, we have a supercharged 6.2 liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 717 horsepower and then 650 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being approximately 3 Teslas taken to Applebee's per mile. Now let's go to the front end of this Charger Hellcat. So first off, you guys can see we have the signature Hellcat hood, which is so cool with the venting on either side and then in the center. It just has this really cool distinctive look. Now this color is called Smoke Show, I'm pretty sure, and it is probably the coolest color on the Charger. If you guys can imagine for a second, think about this with like a satin finish on it. That would be pretty neat. Anyways, coming down below, you guys can see here with the daytime running lights that are wrapped around the headlights, we have our SRT Hellcat badge right there. And then you got like little, it's kind of like a nostril basically. And then all the venting down below. And man, does this thing mean business. I mean, look at that front end. Coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 305, 35, 20 in the front and over in the rear as well. And you guys can see with the wheels, they're all blacked out, which looks really cool. And you guys can probably kind of see, we've got the orange painted calipers, Brembo brakes on the Hellcat package, which makes sense because you need quite a bit of stopping power when you have a car this heavy that has this much horsepower. And then with the wide body kit, you guys can see here with the massive fender flares that have been added. And then we've got the Hellcat logo there. And look how cool this looks from the side. It's cool. Now you get two different key fobs with the Hellcat. You have the key fob that says SRT here on the back, and this one gives you about 500 horsepower, and then you got the red key, which will give you all 717. And you guys can see here the storage space in the back. And then, well, underneath you have a fix-a-flat kit as well, and the battery, I guess for weight distribution purposes. But when you're all done, just pop that down. Now finishing things up with the rest of the rear, you guys can see here with the spoiler body painted, which looks really cool. And then we have the Charger light bar here on the back. And of course we got another Hellcat logo. Parking sensors here on the rear. And then look at how aggressive the exhaust tips are. And you guys will love the sound of this exhaust. Super iconic. And there's the rear. Here's the door panel in the rear. They actually have added quite a bit of like soft touch trim. You guys can see here at the top with the stitching. Then we have Alcantara down below, and then you can see the leather trim here again with more of that stitching. And so yeah, it definitely looks a lot more premium than before. And then here are the seats, which are also really nice with the leather. I mean, look how squishy that is. Alcantara there in the center. And if we actually pop in, ooh, here's your legroom. Yeah, for being such a big car, it's kind of cramped here in the back. Anyways, we've got heated seat controls here for the back, USBs, vents, and, well, I guess that doesn't actually, I thought that this pulled down in the Charger, but it's the whole seat that pulls down, not just the side. Let's head to the front. So here's the front door panel. You guys can see here we've got the nice padding and stitching there at the top, and then also down below at the Alcantara, and then more stitching and padding down below. We've got all of our window controls, front two are automatic, and then the mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. And then here are the front seats. Notice again, SRT with the Hellcat logo there. Alcantara in the center, and then here's down below so you can see. And by the way, the seats are so comfortable. There's so much padding. Power adjustments here on the side. And then here's a quick look at the pedal layout. Light control, steering wheel is power adjustable. And let's pop in. So here's the steering wheel for the Hellcat. You guys can see this one has the Alcantara steering wheel. You got the stitching there on the center portion. Paddles here on the back for the 8-speed automatic with the radio controls actually underneath. Cruise control here, controls for the center stack, and then our voice command phone controls. Turn signal / windshield wiper stock, and there you go. So here is the gauge cluster. As you guys can see, we've got red gauges on either side, which is pretty cool. And notice 200 miles an hour on the speedometer, which is Really, really cool. But anyways, you can see here, we can see different bits of info on the vehicle, performance, and one of these should show us the top speed that the car's gone. 133 miles an hour. It's a rookie numbers. You got to pump up those numbers. But anyways, there's the center. Here's the infotainment screen. So first off, if we pop it into reverse, we do have a backup camera with true trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. Resolution is pretty decent. Now it does have dual zone climate. It also has heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel as well. And then if I press the SRT button down below, that I'll show you a little bit later, pulls up a bunch of stuff. So we have launch control here, which we actually technically can use because this already has over 500 miles. You also have line lock as well, so you can do some smoky burnouts. And then you guys can see with the drive modes. Now notice, while I have the black key on me, that I've got the 500 horsepower mode active. Now, if you have the red key on you, then you can switch between the 717 and the 500 horsepower rating. So AKA, basically, you give the black key to your wife, you get the red key, you keep it in 700 horsepower mode all the time. But by the way, pro tip, if you're filming a video, use the black key and the car won't burn through as much gas while you have the car sitting while you're taking your shots. Other than that though, it's a good infotainment system. It's cool that it has all the different drive modes, and there you go. So here is our whole radio control setup, and you guys can see with the launch control button right there and the SRT button as well. And then down below we've got our dual zone climate controls, got a little 12 volt right there, and then the shifter for the 8-speed automatic transmission. And I love the print all around. A couple cup holders, that little covering, and yeah, just decent storage space in this console area. Solid glove box, and then there's padding on the dash, and then you can see the stitching, and then SRT Hellcat logo yet again, and then just a black headliner. And there's no window sticker in this car because it's pre-owned, but I think that these originally stickered like with this package for like what, $85,000. Let me know in the comment section below if I'm wrong. I think it's in the 80s. But anyways, let's see how this drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's our visibility of the hood. Both the mirrors with dual blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. Setting off in the Hellcat Charger Widebody. And this is a really rare car here in Utah because, well, it snows half the year, and this is a 700 horsepower car with rear-wheel drive. And so, yeah, it's not necessarily the most popular car here. So I'm super grateful that the Kengar Ford here got this traded in so that I'm able to review one. And things I want to mention is, first off, like I said earlier, seat comfort's amazing. That's something that I love about the Chargers and the Challengers is, you know, they're big, heavy muscle cars, and they do not try to hide it whatsoever. Like, they don't try to do anything to save weight or any of that. They just are completely unapologetic about being big, heavy, fast muscle cars, which is great. Now, going over these little bumps, actually, I wanted to start filming here so I can kind of show you guys. Suspension actually does a pretty solid job. And that's one of the things that I do like about the Charger and the Challenger is they are ultimately really good GT cars, right? Like, you can put just miles and miles on these. And because they're super fast, you can put fast miles on them. Continuing along here in the Charger Hellcat, I've got it in the sport setting now. I love the supercharger one. I'm actually going to pop into the manual mode. So hopefully you guys can kind of hear the, go a little bit higher RPMs. Love that supercharger whine. It's just such an addicting sound. And by the way, my braking and acceleration might be a little bit strange in today's video because how I have to sit in these reviews to get you guys a decent GoPro view is not comfortable for driving whatsoever. I basically have the seat like leaned back super far, and then I'm like super close to the pedals, and that's the best way to be able to kind of show you guys a good view. Love this sound. Just feathering the throttle a little bit. It sounds really good. And something funny that I've actually learned because I've talked to a few owners of these cars is if you put it in the 500 horsepower mode, then you actually also just like get, like I kind of mentioned that in filming, you actually get better fuel economy. And so it's it's actually a mode that can make sense. And then also, like, if it's really like snowy or rainy outside and like you're not getting traction at all, then it's actually another reason to use that mode. And so it's cool that this car gives you that ability. I like using the paddles in this. Ooh, suspension is definitely stiffer in the sport mode. That is for sure. So I'm gonna have to just feather into the throttle here. It's crazy how fast this is, even when you're just lightly into the throttle. Brakes definitely work really well. We're never gonna get this experience ever again because everyone's, I mean, even Dodge is going into EVs. And so this really is the end of an era. Obviously, I'll be reviewing the 23 model years for the Challenger, Charger, and all that. Thanks for putting your turn signal on last minute. Ugh. But yeah, I mean, this is the end of an era. Partial throttle is about all you can do on public roads with this thing. Yeah, so summing things up, I love the look of the wide body. Now, should you go regular Hellcat or Red Eye? And, you know, my personal opinion is the regular Hellcat's already a ton. But if you've got the extra dough, I mean, it's got the Red Eye name, the extra power, it's fun. So I think it's worth it if you have the money. And then, you know, Charger versus Challenger, I think that just comes up to personal preference. Which one do you like the looks of more? And so it seems like a lot of people, you know, kind of prefer the Challenger styling because it's got that old school muscle car styling. But this, you know, Charger styling still looks good to this day. And it is such a fun car. I feel like the best application for this, honestly, is if you want the occasional daily drive that's just an absolute riot, or if you live in a place that doesn't snow, it's such a fun car to drive around. But if you go on road trips on a semi-regular basis, this is such a fun road trip vehicle because let's just say that you'll get to your destination extra fast. It'll be a little bit more expensive though, because you use up just a little bit more fuel than your regular run-of-the-mill car. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Hellcat Widebody. I think it's such a special car and I'm sad to see it go. That's gonna sum things up with our video on this Charger Hellcat Widebody. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Kengar Ford here in American Fork, Utah, for giving me some time with this Charger. Check out the info in the description down below. Ask for Kellen if you have any questions. I'll see ya.